Yo! What's going on, everybody? You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green, and it feels good to be back live on the channel. Going forward until the 2026 season starts, we're going to be going live once a week. Kind of hard to pin down exactly what day it's going to be because we also cover the Knicks here, and I go live for almost all of their game days, and I don't like doing Giants Now live on the same day as Knicks Now live because I just feel like I'm cheating everybody. So once a week, going forward, on days the Knicks do not play, we're going to be going live on the channel discussing the latest Giants news and rumors. I'll be at the NFL Combine next week. I'll go live from Radio Row at least one time. I'm going to try to bring some people and some guests onto the show as well. Looking forward to getting to the Combine. Going to get to talk to Joe Schoen, going to get to talk to John Harbaugh, and going to get to talk to a bunch of different NFL draft prospects. Right when we get back from the Combine, we'll be like 8 days away from NFL free agency opening up. We'll be live for the entire day 1, day 2, and potentially day 3 of NFL free agency. And before you know it, the NFL draft late in April will be here. So all of the coaching stuff is done. The coaching staff is set for John Harbaugh. We are full steam ahead to the Combine, free agency, the NFL draft, and before you know it, it'll be preseason game number 1. Shout out to everybody in the building. Already 200-plus people in the chat. Shout out to everybody for stopping by. I'm looking at the chat right now, and I am seeing a bunch of legends in the chat. If you are glad that we are back live and you're ready to have a good time today, give me some real ones down in the comment section. You bleed Giants blue. You love Giants Now. Give me a real one. We'll give some shout-outs. We're going to be reacting to a PFF mock draft on today's show. It's a 3-round mock draft. Giants only have a pick in the first and second round, so we're going to talk about that. We're also going to react to NFL.com and The Athletic. They have put out their cut candidates for every single team in the NFL, and there are some players that if they are cut, I want to see the Giants pursue them in free agency. Shout out to my guy, the guy, that guy. What up, TD Gaming? Warren's in the chat. What up? Tank Budweiser, what's good? Malik Neighbors hanging out. My guy, what's up? Luis Gaming, Jermaine Brown, yes, sir. Fabian, we got all the real ones in the building. The Kid, what's up, Brody? Seth Gross, what's going on, Seth Gross? Long time no see. What up, my man? Shout out to Lorenzo, Daniel, Fabian. Ain't no way, bruh. JD's Journey. What up? Nacho Libre. I love that. Underrated movie. I watched Four Brothers for the first time yesterday in a long time. Such a good movie, man. Such a good movie. TKM in the chat. What up? Jesse, yes, sir. Marcus Miles. What up? Ziegenman. What up? We got Tank Budweiser. We got Ziegen, man. I love that. What up, Jonah? Michael, Bob, Shane Tompkins, that's my guy. Appreciate everybody for stopping by. If you haven't yet, please hit that thumbs up icon. A lot to get into on today's show. Would appreciate if everybody did hit that thumbs up icon. It's free, it's easy, and it helps this channel continue to grow. I also want to get back to the roots of this channel and interacting with all of the real ones. We're going to be doing a mailbag coming up on today's show. If you want your question featured on a video that's going on the channel later this week, ask a question about the draft. I'll be honest, I'm only about really for the first round is where I'm at in my draft analysis and scouting. So if you're asking me about a 4th-round wide receiver from North Dakota State, I'm not going to have the best answer for you, and I don't want to talk out of my butt. I don't want to blow smoke. I'm just going to tell you what I know. I know the first round pretty well with a hyper-focus on the top 10 players. I'm going to continue to up that knowledge. But, yeah, you can ask about the draft. You can ask about the combine. You can ask what I'm going to ask about Joe Schoen. I don't even know what I'm going to ask Joe Schoen. Bring on producer Andrew Connell. If you were going to the Joe Schoen press conference next week, Andrew Connell, what would be the one question you asked Joe Schoen?
Why can't you show up on time? No, in all seriousness, I think with like the recent hiring in the front office, maybe asking about his role and what he's focused on, how it's changed. whether or not he thinks it's going to be able to help him potentially if he is focusing more on scouting. Is that going to, is there room to improve? Is he spending more time scouting? You think he's going to be able to get a better handle? And if that's the case, we expect improvement in some of the draft picks? Not that the Giants' draft picks haven't been good, but maybe he's going to have a little more say over that, where maybe he was leaning on the scouts in the past. So maybe something along those lines, especially at the combine with the draft being the main topic there.
Yeah, this time last year, I probably already knew the question that I was going to ask Joe Schoen, and at this point, I don't really know what I want to ask him. I'm still kind of workshopping that. It is expected for John Harbaugh to speak. He spoke for the Ravens last year. I actually asked John Harbaugh a question at his press conference last year for my guy Joey Peterson about the pass rush and how important it was for the Ravens to add a pass rusher in the offseason. He gave a good answer. I'll post that video at some time. I don't know. What do y'all want to be asked to John Harbaugh? What would you want to ask, AC?
Yeah, to John Harbaugh, I would just say, so I'm trying to think of not.
He's on every media stop in the world,
exactly.
So I'm assuming he's been asked every question under the sun.
Trying to not regurgitate at least what we heard.
You only get one, maybe two questions. I take a lot of pride in those, and I want them to be good questions, and I want them to make them think. I think we did a good job last year asking Joe Schoen questions. I got to ask Shador a couple of questions. I thought that was fun.
I guess maybe how or what are you going to do differently to ensure this team can hold on to fourth quarter leads? Because that was kind of the theme of last season. They'd get the leads and they'd lose them in the fourth quarter.
It's also been the theme of his career a little bit,
too. That's true,
too.
I guess, yeah. So maybe, I don't know, maybe he's going back to the drawing board completely as well. But you heard a lot about how is this team going to be different. He's going to talk about guys who love football. Exactly. So you don't want to – not that is a bad question.
I'm not asking any softball questions.
We've heard that. He's answered it 100 times. So as I thought about it, that's something at least that – one area that we know the Giants can improve, and he can potentially make a difference from last year. That's what came to my mind.
Shout out to y'all. My man Seth Gross saying, how does Harbaugh like his coffee? That's important. That is important. Joey Wheel says, what's my dream off season? How long do you have? How long do you have? I will be putting out a perfect off season probably next week. Maybe at the end of this week. Maybe Friday's video or Thursday's video on the channel will be my perfect off season. Off season's kind of already happened a little bit with the head coach and the staff and things of that sort. But we'll be looking at free agency. We'll talk about the NFL draft. So I'll do that, but kind of want to keep that one a little bit of a secret. One of my favorite videos to do. Put a lot of time into that one. So we'll do that. Make sure you're subscribed. Joey, you're a real one. We appreciate you. Shout out to you, Clint. We appreciate you. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Almost 250 people watching. If you could, smack that thumbs up icon and give me an SG in the chat.
We got a 3-point goal. Seth Gross, bang!
Shout out to Seth Gross coming in with a $50 super chat. Happy Tuesday to you, my man. Shout out to Seth Gross. I'm missing New York Knicks watch parties right now, Seth. Good to see you, brother. Thank you for always supporting this show in such an unbelievable way, man. You're the best. Says, I want the height. I want the broad catch radius. Get me Carnell Tate. I want Dart to have as many weapons as possible, sticking to my guns on getting a wide receiver. You know, I had a doctor's appointment this morning, and I'm sitting in the waiting room, and then I'm sitting in the doctor's office for like an hour and a half, and I'm watching all these different tapes and going through all these different mock drafts. Daniel Jeremiah had Carnell Tate going to the Giants today, and I've already watched every catch of Carnell Tate, and I went back and I watched another 4-minute little highlight video, and I think Carnell Tate is really good, but there's just a mental block in my head because in theory, I would love to add a top 5 wide receiver to this football team. I would love to add a top 5 pick at an offensive tackle in this draft. I don't know if any of the receivers or any of the offensive tackles have top 5 grades. And what I've kind of realized is, Seth Gross, I don't believe this draft is full of blue chip players at the top. I don't think this draft features that. But, man, if Carnell Tate is what some people do believe, and you have a Carnell Tate and you have a Malik Neighbors, that's Jamar Chase and that's T. Higgins in different uniforms, and that would be awesome. And you could have 2 cheap-ish level wide receivers for the next 2 to 3 years and build out the rest of the team. Like, we did a video last week. I don't remember what it was, but I think it was on Friday, and I left work, and I was like, man, I'm pissed off because the Giants should have 2 first-round picks right now, and the Giants desperately need 2 first-round picks because they need to do something at receiver. They need to do something on the right side of the offensive line, right guard, right tackle. They need to fill a need at defensive tackle. They need another corner. They need multiple inside linebackers. They're going to cut Okereke. They don't have anybody left except for Darius Muasau. And I got pissed off all over again. They didn't have number 1 pick and could trade down and get a haul that could accelerate this rebuild. If Carnell Tate is a pick, I'm going to be fired up about that, Seth Gross. If you get another guy that could put up 1,300 yards in a season at the receiver spot, you're cooking with some gas.
Yeah, and I mean, you think there could be a way tell potentially on what they do in free agency. If they don't add any sort of significant weapon, you'd have to imagine they're going to pick a receiver early in the draft, whether it's with that first pick or with that early second round pick. Maybe one of those guys that's supposed to go in the late first or early second. You can still get a great player. You could draft a wide receiver. Look at all the wide receivers in the NFL who are drafted in the second round who are high-level wide receiver guys. So could go either way, I think.
I like Tate. I don't know who I like better right now between Tyson and Tate. I think Tyson is a little bit more sudden. I think he's a little quicker, maybe even a little bit more explosive. The injury history there does concern me a little bit. But, man, like, right now, my dream is to get Caleb Downs at number 5. At the end of the day, I just want someone that's going to play like a top 5 pick. Because the Giants could use a top 5 pick at right tackle. They could use a top 5 pick at receiver. They could use a top 5 pick at corner. They could use a top 5 pick at safety. So all I want is that guy to be a day 1 difference maker. And I think Carnell Tate could absolutely be that guy. And the idea of building around Jackson Dart with your most premium assets, that's a good idea to have, Mr. Seth Gross. I'd be pumped up about it. 6'3" wide receiver, could stretch the defense, can go over the top. Like, how many times have we said the Giants need another playmaker on this offense? The Giants need a guy on the scouting sheet that when the Cowboys scout the Giants in week 1 next year, it's not just we got to only stop Malik Neighbors. Because if you're Malik Neighbors or bust, you're a pretty easy offense to stop. And that's with all due respect to Neighbors, who is the best receiver in the division, in my opinion. But you got to have more than one option. JSN, Kenneth Walker, Cooper Kupp, the trio of tight ends the Seattle Seahawks had. Like, you got to have multiple ways to beat a team. And right now, like, you have Scadaboo, you have Dart, you have Neighbors, but you need to continue to diversify your portfolio of weapons and explosive plays.
Yeah, I don't think you could say that the Giants offense kept defensive coordinators up at night every night during this season. And like you said, they have some of those pieces. They weren't all necessarily there playing together healthy at the same time, but adding another impact player, whether it's a wide receiver, whether it's a tight end at some point, whether it's whoever it is, an offensive, we've heard people around the league say offensive linemen can be weapons. You get a mauling offensive lineman, that could be a weapon. So just something else to kind of just level up that offense. I agree.
Agreed. Like, that's what's so fun about the offseason, in my opinion. And, like, the offseason's been more fun than the Giants season every year except for twice since the Super Bowl, the last Super Bowl. What is this team going to look like? How does John Harbaugh want to build this team out? Like, what does this team look like in 90 days? In 90 days, we'll theoretically be past the NFL draft. We'll be past NFL free agency. We'll know what the schedule is. Like, gotta love it. Gotta love it. Seth, Eli Manning agrees with you. He says the Giants should go get a wide receiver too. We'll see if it's Carnell Tate. We'll see if it's Tyson. We'll see what it is. This guy right here.
We got a 3-point goal. Marty Malela. Bang!
Seth Gross and Marty Malela in the building. The Bang Bros are at it. What up, Marty Malela? Appreciate you, bro. Says, I'm late. Hey, no worries. I consistently run late. No worries about it. Because I'm watching guys' grocery games, but I'm here now. I don't know what that is, to be honest with you. Sounds intriguing, but it's officially a party now that Marty is in the building. Thanks for being here, Marty. Happy Tuesday to you, brother. I'll see you Thursday. When the Knicks are back at it. We the plug in the building with a $2 super chat. Who's got it better than us?
Nobody. Let's
go. Shout out to We the Plug. Who's got it better than us? Giants now live on a Tuesday, hanging out with all the real ones. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Shout out to you. My guy, Drew. What's up, man? Drew was chomping at the bit for us to get this stream started. Jeez. I need that type of enthusiasm in my life, Drew. Shout out to you. I asked the chat, and feel free for anyone to send a super chat or in the chat. I'm going to the Combine next week. I'll get to ask Joe Schoen some questions. I'll get to ask John Harbaugh some questions. Put what you would ask those guys at the Combine. And no, I can't just go to Joe Schoen and be like, why do you suck at your job? And how are you a terrible person? And why is your son better at your, like, at least be a little bit. We're going to try to be professional next week. So.
Some nuance, some detail to the questions.
Like, trust me, I wish I would have told him when I saw him in the bathroom last year in Indy, like, why do you fucking suck at your job? But I can't. I'm sure he already knows that we feel that way. I promise you they do. Will Joe understand your question? We'll see. That's going to be interesting. Let's go Giants. My man, $5 super chat. Salute to you. You think we can afford to trade back into the first round like Mansour Delane, like Tibbs, and a second for like pick 25 with the Bears? Well, I don't – like I always hate – it's a love-hate relationship talking about the NFL draft because you get these opinions and you get these thoughts, and we're going to say this 1,000 times. You are going to say this 1,000 times. There is no way this player lasts that long. There's no way this player goes this early. And every single year, that player lasts that long, and this player goes earlier than anticipated. So it's all a little bit different in that department. If Mansour Delane is there at pick 25, yes, the New York Giants, I think, should be trying to move up from pick 37 to pick 25. I don't think it's the most likely thing in the world that he will be there, but I think what you're trying to say is, can the Giants use Kayvon Thibodeaux as a trade piece to get back into a premium spot in the NFL to draft a player? And I think they will. Look, there was rumors and talks and pretty serious traction last year. The Giants were looking to trade Kayvon Thibodeaux during the draft. Like, Pretty Ricky said it. A lot of people said it. He's now a year removed from that, was less productive last year due to injuries, and he's a year older. The contract is,
it's going to get more expensive.
Yeah, it's going to get more expensive. He's a free agent this time next year. Like, teams are going to call the Giants about Kayvon Thibodeaux, and I think they're going to answer those calls, and they may even call some people. Like, I think it was pretty well reported that the Giants were getting calls at the trade deadline this year for Thibodeaux, and they would have moved him if they got a first-round pick, which means they didn't get offered a first-round pick. We'll talk about it as we go through this mock draft a little bit. I think 37 is more of a trade-down spot than potentially the Giants trading up. You don't have a pick in the third round. Can we see a situation similar to what we saw in 2022? I know is it Joe Schoen? Is it Don Aponte? Someone was saying, Marshall, when you say Don Aponte's name, it sounds like you're saying Don.
D-O-N.
Like, it's the same.
Dawn.
Like, Don Aponte. Is that how I'm supposed to say it?
I guess. I don't know. It's got to enunciate the A and the Don, like pawn.
Don or Don? I don't. It's the same.
I think the first one. I think Don.
I'm trying my best.
Yeah, that's it. You guys, if you guys know who he's talking about, there's not a guy like Tony Soprano, Don Aponte, cooking things up in a Giants facility.
Come on. The critical nature of the commenters always crack me up. I like it though. Hold me to a high standard. I trust me. No one holds me to a higher standard than me. I guess what I'm trying to say is the pick in the second round, number 37 overall, I think that's a spot where the New York Giants can trade down. We saw them in 2022 you had the fifth pick, so you probably had pick 37 or pick 39 in that first year, Joe Schoen. You traded down once in the second round. You traded down again in the second round. You wound up with Wan'Dale Robinson, but I think you added a fourth or a fifth round pick as well. The Giants only have 2 picks in the top 100. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to stretch that 37th overall pick into a second and a third round pick. This team has a lot of holes, and they need premium picks, man.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Ravens are always one of those good teams that's so good at, like, they find guys in the 4th round who become impact players. I think John Harbaugh probably values, like we talked about it on the video yesterday, those comp picks. So those middle round picks are so valuable. If you can find contributors there for cheap, even they don't necessarily have to be starting level players at that point, but guys that can make positive contributions come in right away and help the team. The Giants are kind of lacking like capital in those middle rounds, so that could be a spot where they.
One thing that, and I thought that's a great point. It brought this thought, like I don't know if it was the John Harbaugh effect or the numerous Hall of Famers that they've had in the front office. It always felt like the Ravens had a type of a player. And when a player signed with the Ravens, that guy's a Raven. Oh, Steve Smith? Yeah, he's a Raven. Anquan Bolden? Yeah, you know what? He is a Raven too. Roquan Smith? You know what? He is a Raven. Like, they just had an identity to their players. And I'm curious to see if that carries over.
I'd love if
with the
did.
Giants. How many times do they get to steal the draft that falls down too far? It was Malachi Starks. It was Kyle Hamilton. It's always
Linderbaum.
somebody. Yeah, like Linderbaum. Exactly. Could be a Giant this time in 3 weeks. But
just like this is obviously they're all professional football players, but like when you talk about true pros, like a pros pro, guys that come in, do the right thing, and like just like football guys, and John Harbaugh said it in the press conference, so hopefully he brings a lot of those guys to New York. Shout out to Let's Go Giants. Appreciate your super chat and question. It's me. There's a stream. Let's effing go. Yeah, getting back on the, like you said, trying to do every week on these Giants live streams now in the off season. Not necessarily going to be the same day each week with the Knicks schedule. That kind of determines when we work and when we can go live. So,
all right, I don't want to say we're going to go live every single Tuesday, and then next Tuesday the Knicks play, and then we have to cut the live that should be 90 minutes to 2 hours into 45 minutes because we have the Knicks game. Like, when we go live on the Giants channel, I want to go all out. I want to answer everybody's question. I want to answer everybody's super chat. I want to give everybody my thoughts and opinions. And I don't want to shortchange you guys, so I also feel like I shortchange myself. So once a week, going forward, on days the Knicks don't play, we'll be going live. So it's me. That's kind of my my thoughts on that. But yeah, I'm glad to be live today. It's a lot of fun, and when you guys are bringing the heat like you always do, it's unbelievable.
we got a 3-point goal. Take Budweiser. Bang, bang.
A double bang from Tank Budweiser. What up, my man? I'm all in on Caleb Downs and Harbaugh. I'm biased. That's one of my favorites.
It's hard to beat.
That's good stuff. Tank Budweiser, $100 super chat, man. Thank you. That's unreal. Seriously, thank you, man. Look, if Caleb Downs is the pick at number 5, I'm going to be doing jumping jacks. I'm going to be celebrating. Like when I close my eyes and I visualize the Giants' defense last year, they were slow. They didn't tackle well, and they didn't make plays that they weren't supposed to make, and they didn't cause turnovers. They couldn't get off the field on 3rd and long. They had really no identity outside of call spade a spade, a little bit of an overrated pass rush at times. Like, Caleb Downs fixes all those things. He's a big-time playmaker on 3rd down. He's going to help you stop the run. He brings speed to the second level. He causes havoc. He can be used as a blitzer. He gives you an identity. He gives you another leader. Like, the worst thing you can say about Caleb Downs as a player is that he plays safety. Like, what's the other knock? What like?
And this is, you can't get caught up in the position because this guy, like you said, can kind of do a little bit of everything. He's a chess piece. You can use him everywhere. So, yes, on the stat sheet, it's going to say he's a safety, but they're going to use him. If they get him, we'll see. You can use him in a variety of different ways. It gives you multiplicity on defense, can change up the looks, and just like let you get really creative with that personnel.
Like, I think about it like this, And I always, it's a tug of war with me of positional value, best player available. I hear all that, but like, isn't the goal to just draft like really freaking good football players? And isn't he like by multiple people's standards the first, second, or third best football player in this class when you take away positional value? Like I say that, and one of the questions I want to ask John Harbaugh is about positional value because they don't give a shit about positional value. Linderbaum, center, first-round pick. Safety, Kyle Hamilton, first-round pick. Paying a 30-year-old running back, Derrick Henry. Joe Shane, let Saquon go. Don't pay McKinney. We don't draft interior offensive linemen in round one. Like, it's Joe Shane, the positional value guru. John Harbaugh, I want damn good football players. Like, how are they going to balance that? How are they going to go about it? And I think the question is, well, John gets to decide. So I'm going to maybe try to figure out a question around that for John and Joe. But, man, Tank Budweiser, if Caleb Downs is a Giant at 5, I'm going to be fired up. Like, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, Caleb Downs. That is 4 blue chip. Like blue is the freaking ocean. Like, come on, man. That's elite.
Yeah.
Right, Joe?
That's right, Joe, in the chat. I see you guys, some guys putting in some really good questions, want Marsh to address. If you guys want to have a chance to get those on the show later, use that hashtag Giants, and there's a chance that it could get on the show later. I see a lot of good stuff in there, but not using the hashtag. So if you haven't yet, kind of send that back in and make sure you get that hashtag.
If you include the number sign Giants, hashtag Giants, it allows Andrew Connell to grab that question and show it on screen via our software. So I see Carl Knight asked a question. Shout out to him. You did put a comma after it. Just have it look like it does on screen. That way we could pop that up for all y'all. We want to engage and chop it up with as many Giants fans as we can. It's exciting times, man. It really, really is. Tank Budweiser, you're a legend, bro. Thank you for being here. Seriously, you the man. Yeah, I'm in for Caleb Downs. I am. It'd be really cool if you could like get Caleb Downs and Carnell Tate. Oh wait, you could have done that, but you wanted to beat the tanking Raiders and
got culture.
And yeah, I want to ask
John Harbaugh about the culture.
How much culture carries over from Week 17 and Week 18 wins against tanking teams, John?
Were those wins the reason why you decided you come to the Giants?
Well, we know that they are because culture.
Exactly, you're right.
Culture.
That would be a dumb question.
Michael Champlin, what up, my man? Thank you for being here and always supporting the channel. Any interest in Mike Evans? So right before we went live, we kind of got a little bit of news saying that wide receiver Mike Evans will return in 2026, meaning he's not going to retire. His agents say that the future Hall of Famer is going to play and will explore options in free agency. Look, I like Mike Evans a lot. I think he's one of the most underrated wide receivers of all time. Yeah, I would like Mike Evans on a 1-year deal here. But on the other side of that coin, I would like to get like a long-term fix at that position. Signing Mike Evans is like a move that the Bills make as they're trying to go and make a serious Super Bowl push. Yeah, if Mike Evans is a Giant tomorrow, yeah, I'd be fired up about it. I would rather, though, get a more youthful option at that spot. But shit, man, if he puts pen to paper and becomes a Giant, I'm all in on him. And pause. I hope he wears number 13.
There are worse things that would happen than having Mike Evans on your football team. One of the best. You could argue he's one of the best receivers of all time. At that 1,000-yard streak, which a couple times right over, but still impressive consistency. And like you said, a guy that other teams are going to have to account for going into the game. Like
that would be a perfect mentor for Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, that too. I didn't even think about that aspect of it. Yeah,
I really do think Neighbors needs a guy like that. I mean, Eli Manning said it, and Eli Manning said it for a reason. He could use a vet. How do you watch film?
Yeah.
How do you get open? How do you beat this guy? How do you take care of your body?
Just think about him getting to another level. Like he's already been so impressive.
The next way Malik Neighbors takes a step, obviously get back 100%, but it's in between the years. How do you think the game? Like, how do you beat people with your brain? You're always going to beat people with your athleticism. How do you beat people by thinking the game? So yeah, Mike Evans. I almost would like him more for that than what we would get on the field. And on the field, you're getting what? 80 catches for 950 yards.
Mike Evans is your number 2. I mean, that's
another legit red zone target. How many times have we seen Jackson Dart already want to throw jump balls in the red zone or throw the ball downfield?
He made Lil Jordan Humphrey look good last year. So imagine what he could do with a guy like Mike Evans.
Would not be mad at all if Mike Evans was a New York Giant. Jose, what up, my man? Shout out to you. Appreciate you supporting the channel. Says, my honest feeling is if Downs is available at 5, take him. Wide receiver can be drafted later or added in free agency. Giants have to be able to stop the pass. One of my biggest gripes with the NFL calendar is I feel as if the draft should come before free agency. So much of building a football team is around the draft and adding youth. Wouldn't you want to know what positions you could fill in the draft and then go sign the veterans in free agency after that? I just think it's more of a practical process in the timeline. You kind of see it in the NBA. I think it makes some sense there.
Yeah, because free agency, you have more control over who you can get. Obviously, there's limits to salary cap, but in terms of targeting guys in the draft, you can only get a guy if he's available at your pick or positionally, however that would fall out. Free agency, you can say, I'm signing the best wide receiver. I'm going to pay him however much it takes. And you can definitively almost solve a problem. Obviously, the guy has to want to come there and agree to it. But in the draft, you're kind of limited to the cards that are dealt to you.
Yeah, I agree. When it comes to the number 5 pick, Downs is the guy I want. But shoot, man, if they take Carnell Tate there, or they take Tyson there, they take Maui Noah, they take Fano, I'm cool with all of those guys, to be honest with you. But yeah, you want to build out the roster. When you to the point you say wide receiver could be drafted later or added in free agency. I agree. You could also apply that same logic though to safety could be drafted later as well. It's on the scouting staff and it's on the front office to figure out what's the best plan of action to green check mark as many of our needs this offseason. And with only 2 picks in the top 100, could be a little bit challenging. So I would not be shocked if the Giants trade down from 37. I don't think they'll trade down from number 5 unless they get a haul of an offer. But I think they could trade down from number 37. Shout out to you, Jose. 365 people in the building. Same number of people as days in the year where we bleed Giants blue. If you are ready for our 3-round mock draft reaction to the Pro Football Focus mock that they put out, I think it was yesterday, hit that thumbs up icon. Let's run those likes up. We'd really, really appreciate it. We got one more super chat for my guy, Papa Swanky. We'll answer that, and then we'll dive into the mock draft. Shout out to y'all, man. Appreciate everybody being here. Almost 400 people in this piece. That's love, man. We're going to continue to try to go live at least one time a week going forward on a day of the week where the Knicks do not play. I will go live from Radio Row next week at the NFL Combine. I don't know which day of the week, so stay tuned for that. Maybe it's right after the press conferences. I don't know.
Yeah, let's get to 200 likes before we start talking about that mock draft. Right now, 19 away, 370 people in here. Should be an easy thing to get to as we go to Papa Swanky. Shout out to you, man.
Peace Swanky. What up, Beast Mode? Thoughts on Peter Woods, Clemson defensive tackle, could make it easier moving on from Dexter Lawrence if he has another down year. Man, what's crazy about Peter Woods is prior to the season starting, people would have told you he was a lock to be a top 5 pick. Now it's like, is he a top 10 guy? Is he a top 15 guy? The work he put on film this year was just not to the standard that the offseason scouting gurus set for him. And we've talked about Dexter Lawrence before and about his future with the Giants. No more guaranteed money on his deal. Thought about sitting out last year if he didn't get a new contract. Didn't necessarily get a new contract, but there was more money added via guarantee opportunities. Dexter Lawrence has to be fired up about getting John Harbaugh. The losing, I think everyone has seen over the last 3 years by his post-game pressers, has taken a toll on him. And with the Giants kind of changing their ways and showing a commitment, it looks like, to trying to actually win some football games, I think Dexter Lawrence needs to be one of the people that is most fired up about this hire. And like when you talk about some of those defenses and I know like Harbaugh's not a defensive coordinator, but like there was always an identity of a big defensive line. Like how many times, like it was Matabouke a couple of years ago, it was Haloti Nada. Like
That's what I was thinking of. I was trying to think of the name.
There are like Dexter Lawrence, man. I want to see him get back to his 2022 and 2023 and 2024 self. There is no, like, of all the players that could swing success either way for the Giants this year, if Dexter Lawrence gets back to being the best defensive tackle in the league, Abdul Carter takes a step, Brian Burns is just as good as he was last year, you continue to add to that defense, they should be significantly better. So,
and coaching improving.
Yeah, coaching improves. All coaching. Blame the coaches. We're coaching staff away, according to Joe Shane. I wanna give Dex another year. Look, if he's adamant about getting out of here, you know what? Let's get a great package back for him. But
can't imagine he want to like leave now that things may start like turning around with Harbaugh. He's had to suffer through all that losing. Like he should be one of the hungriest guys to kind of change this culture and stink of losing that's kind of permeated throughout the organization over the greater part of the last 15 years, really.
Yeah, so I'm not on a, what is the thing at the airport where it's like a speed walker? You know?
I guess, yeah. I want to say like an escalator, but it's not really an escalator.
I'm not on one of those to trade Dexter Lawrence right now. I've said it in the past. Look, if you get 2 first-round picks, you get the Quinnen Williams deal. That'd be hard to say no to. But how about we just get all-pro Dexter Lawrence back? That'd be a pretty cool trade.
Sweet.
Trade nothing and get all-pro Dexter Lawrence back. I'd be in on that. Like, what's more likely? Dexter Lawrence is back to an all-pro next year, or he's the same player that we saw last year? I think it's closer to it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing, we're hoping that he's closer back to that.
Maybe I'm on that copium.
I mean, we'll see. I don't know if that elbow injury was nagging him.
I'm hoping the injury was big.
Yeah, because like he was not the same player we've grown accustomed to seeing on Sundays. He did not really. How many games were there where it was like, has Dexter Lawrence playing? Like, has he done anything? We haven't really called his name at all. And I think a lot of the underlying stats kind of highlighted he had a much less of an impact this season he's had in years past. So that would just be a big boost to the defense, like you said, to basically. It's like when you get a guy back from injury, like it's just a free trade that you're getting a guy back halfway through the season. Didn't cost anything to give him up.
I think adding another defensive tackle, it doesn't need to be an all-NBA or all-pro type of guy, but if you can get an above-average rotation of the other guys in the defensive tackle room outside Dexter Lawrence, that's going to raise his level of play as well, where he doesn't have to be Superman every single play and take on double and triple teams. And like if there's another guy on the interior defensive line that can command some respect from opposing offensive lines, I think that would unlock Mr. Sexy Dexy as well.
We got a 3-point goal. Marty Malela, bang!
Marty Malela, give me some double M's in the comment section. Guys, Grocery Games is a Food Network show with Guy Fieri. You ever heard of it?
I have heard of it.
Is it good stuff?
Yeah. Food Network was something that was on in my house a good amount. My mom did go to culinary school, so it was something that I've seen all those Master Chef, Top Chef, Hell's Kitchen, all those Food Network shows. Guys, Grocery Game, I think that one's like you got to run around the store, grab ingredients quickly, and then cook something with the ingredients you had in the store. So all those kind of food competition shows, pretty cool.
I like that. I went to the Guy Fieri restaurant. He's got a couple in Vegas. I've gone to that one. Makes good stuff, man.
Yeah, hard to argue. He's the Flavor Town guy, right?
Yep.
Taking you to Flavor Town. So shout out to you, Marty.
Marty, we love you, brother. Thank you for being here. Days? I always forget. I don't know. What up, Big D? Pause. I really like Anthony Hill Jr. I hope we get him in the second round. Thoughts on how to address the Mike linebacker position in this draft? Well, you should stick around for our reaction to the PFF mock draft. But, man, Anthony Hill, before I took this job, I covered Dallas, Texas, high school football. And he was a freshman at a school that I covered about, I don't remember, it was 2 or 3 games of his. And as a freshman, he was the best player on the field. He was playing running back. He was playing linebacker, 5-star recruit. That guy's a beast. I thought he would be a little bit better at the University of Texas, but I still think that elite athlete, downhill linebacker, plays aggressive. I think 37 might be a little bit too soon for him, as I say that, and we're still 2+ months away from the NFL draft. But yeah, I like Anthony Hill. I like the kid. I've interviewed him a couple of times. I like the head that he's got on his shoulders. I like the attitude, the swag, the ferocity that he plays with. He's looking to tear your face off anytime he get a hold of you. He's like mini Arvell Reese. He's like mini Arvell Reese. He could play on the edge. He could play inside the box. He could use him as a blitzer. I like Anthony Hill as a player. I don't know where people have him. Let's see where Dane Brugler has him on his top
big
100.
Board.
Yeah. He has Anthony. He's got him at player 56. So
Maybe a trade down candidate.
6'3", 238, an impressive size prospect. Hill brings athletic versatility to the field with his range versus the run, speed as a blitzer, and changes direction and coverage. His stack and shed efficiency must improve, but he plays with the toughness to evade blocks and continuous pursuit. Yeah, maybe you trade down and you get a late 2nd round pick and an early 3rd round. I don't know. Anthony Hill is someone that I absolutely do like, though. He is. I'm a big fan of his. I'm also biased. I will not lie. All right, AP51 coming in with a $5 super chat. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody in the building. We appreciate you. If you haven't yet, hit that thumbs up icon. About to get into a couple of videos. We'll do that after this super chat.
Shout out to AP.
What up, my dog? Appreciate you, bro. What do you think about Doubs? Love me some Romeo Doubs. I know it's Doubs. I like saying Doubs, though. Also, I think we can get a good wide receiver, too, in the draft. Maybe Lemon Falls or someone like Concepcion. Man, I know it's like he's not really like a sleeper anymore. My brother went to Texas A&M, and we watch a lot of Texas A&M football, and he's a beast, man. Anytime you watch the Aggies play, he popped off the screen. He could do it as a punt returner as well. He is electric, and he's a good route runner. He's got good hands as well. He's a big play guy. Giants are looking to take a receiver at 37. Concepcion could be that guy. If Romeo Doubs is let go, which it sounds like the Packers are going to rock and roll with the receivers that they have on the roster. They just drafted Matthew Golden in round 1. Still have Dontavian Wicks. You got Jaden Reed. You got the burner as well. I'm blanking on his name. Out of North Dakota State. Christian Watson. Like, they have so many wide receivers. They have Tucker Kraft coming back as well. I don't think they're going to pay Doubs big money. I'm curious what his market is. Who gets more money? Alec Pierce or Romeo Doubs in free agency? But Doubs is someone that I would love alongside Malik Neighbors, 6'2", 6'3", can play on the outside, contested catch guy, can run routes over the middle of the field, sneaky speed to beat you over the top. I like Doubs a lot, and the Giants have to improve that wide receiver room for Lemon. I don't think that he'll fall to 37. If the Giants trade down from 5 and then they get into that range, that could make sense. I like him a lot. Maybe a slot-only guy, but, man, he's like mini JSN, but not as good, if that makes sense. I like him, though. I like him a lot. Yeah, got to improve the wide receiver spot. Can you double dip? Can you get someone at 37 and you get a free agent? I don't know if Wan'Dale Robinson's coming back. Yesterday I thought so, and then here's some things since then. I don't know. We'll figure out more at the Combine. That's for sure. We're going to get into a mailbag coming up in probably 20-ish minutes. We will go through super chats that were Giants applicable. If you want to skip the line, you could super chat like a Disney Fast Pass. Or if you want to hold your question or have your question held in the hands of Andrew Connell, include hashtag Giants like you see on screen right there. Ask your question in the comments, and AC will pop it up on the screen. Shout out to y'all. We're about to get into a PFF mock draft reaction. They just put out a 3-round mock draft, so we can get ready for that. If you just want to push this across and get the next stuff ready to go as I pull up my script for this one. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. It is officially mock draft season as we are a little over 2 months away from the NFL draft being here. And on today's show, we're going to react to PFF's latest mock draft. They went 3 rounds. You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. Let's do it. The New York Giants currently own the number 5 pick in the 2026 NFL draft. They also own the 37th overall pick. And at the time of recording this video, they do not have a 3rd-round pick. They used that pick to get back into the 1st round last year to select Jackson Dart. So only 2 picks featured on today's show. But not going to lie, I am fans of these. Let's start it off. PFF had Shocker of the Year, Fernando Mendoza, going to the Las Vegas Raiders. I think that you can write that one in Sharpie. It is going to happen. They had Caleb Downs going number 2 overall to the New York Jets. Downs, the number 1 player on my big board. I'm hoping that he falls to the Giants. David Bailey, the pass rusher out of Texas Tech. He goes number 3 overall to the Arizona Cardinals. And then Ruben Bain, the other edge rusher out of Miami. He goes number 4 to the Tennessee Titans, which means the New York Giants are on the clock with the number 5 pick. Before I tell you who Pro Football Focus had the Giants selecting, I want you to sound off in the comments. If you were the head decision maker for Big Blue, and this is the way the draft played out in the top 4, who would you select with the number 5 overall pick? Sound off in the comments for me. With the 5th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, Pro Football Focus has the New York Giants selecting Sonny Styles, the inside linebacker out of the Ohio State. A lot of different ways the Giants could have went with this pick. You could have went after a Jordan Tyson. You could have went after a Carnell Tate. Arvell Reese still on the board. Either tackle, Maui Noah or Fano was there. A bunch of different ways they could have went, but PFF says Sonny Styles is your guy. They wrote this. While I agree with the recent declaration from multiple draft analysts that Ohio State's Arvell Reese is a better prospect at linebacker than edge rusher, I think his teammate is the better linebacker in this draft class, talking about Sonny Styles. Styles' grading profile is similar to that of San Francisco 49ers star linebacker Fred Warner from his BYU days, and he could easily be a decade-long starter. If Sonny Styles is Fred Warner, yeah, I'm going to want that guy on my football team. You could see some stats at the bottom of your screen where Pro Football Focus draws some parallels between Styles and Warner. Dane Brugler, someone who I think is one of the best in the business when it comes to covering the NFL draft. He has Styles number 5 on his big board, saying a 6'4", 240-pound linebacker with 4.5 40-yard dash speed who just turned 21. Yeah, Styles, who initially enrolled at Ohio State as a safety, checks all the boxes with his size and athletic traits. He blossomed on the field in 2025. He isn't a proven playmaker in coverage yet, which is the only reason he isn't ranked higher, but he is the rare off-ball linebacker worth a top 10 pick. Mel Kiper Jr. of ESPN has Sonny Styles as the 7th rated player on his big board, saying, you can tell Styles is a former safety. He has outstanding speed, and his burst allows him to spy the quarterback. Watch for him to dominate at the combine and in the pre-draft testing. Styles is also a dependable tackler and closes in a flash. He really took that next step last season, even as he adapted to a new system under defensive coordinator Matt Patricia. Sonny Styles looks like he is built in a lab to be a modern-day inside linebacker. Some sites have 6'3", some sites have 6'5", but man, 6'4", 6'5", 240 pounds. He is a demon on the football field. Sideline to sideline, he is explosive, and I believe there is still a lot of room for him to grow as a football player. I reached out to my guy, Billy Beebe, who covers Ohio State here at Chat Sports, and Mr. Beebe said this about Styles. He was criminally underrated for Ohio State and is still a top 15 pick. He was originally a safety, an Ohio State legend, and now linebacker coach James Laurinaitis fought to make him a linebacker, captain, and a green dot player on defense. Sonny does not miss tackles. He was perfect in the regular season with 81 tackles. That was thanks to good size and electric ability to track down the ball. Any defense that adds Sonny Styles initially becomes a more efficient and tougher group. We saw Styles grow from 2024 to 2025 when it comes to his efficiency as a tackler. Billy mentioned it. He did not miss one tackle this year, and he had 80 in his bag with 5 tackles for loss, half a sack, 3 pass breakups, and 45 stops. A stop being considered a tackle that results in a negative play for the offense. Like if it was 4th and 5 and Sonny Styles made a tackle for a 4-yard gain. He played safety in 2023. Then he transitioned to 2024 to inside linebacker. I thought they moved him around and played him off the edge a little bit more in 2024. And that's why I think that Styles can give you even more in the NFL than they gave you in 2025. I think you can use him as a pass rusher. I think you can use him off the edge. But man, when it's 3rd and 8 and you want to play a light box and you want to have speed in the middle of your defense, Sonny Styles is that guy. He is exactly what the Giants need on defense. Think about what the Giants' defense was last year. I think that they were slow. I think that they were poor tacklers. They did not get off the field on 3rd downs, and there was a lack of disruptors at the 2nd and 3rd level. Sonny Styles is a green check mark in every single one of those. And if you're telling me that Styles can be to the Giants what Fred Warner has been to the Niners, sign me up for that. I want you to grade the pick of Sonny Styles. If the Giants draft Styles number 5 overall, grade it for me. A, B, C, D, or F. I know this for a fact. He passes the name test. Sonny Styles, that dude just sounds like a beast. Coming up next, we will reveal who PFF had the Giants selecting in round 2. I think you guys are going to like this one. First, though, I got to give a huge shout out to our sponsor of today's show, and that is Prize Picks. Football season may be over, but the basketball season in action is heating up. So get hooked up with Prize Picks. There's no better time to start playing than now. They've also got an awesome deal going on. When you use that promo code CLNS, place your first $5 lineup. They're going to get you $50 in lineups. You don't even have to get that first lineup correct. It's easy. You pick more or less. You create a lineup of 2 to 6 players, and you either select more or less on their projected stat line that PFF selects for them. The basketball will be back. Basketball action will be back in our life on Thursday. I've already got my lineup ready to roll. I'm taking the less on points, rebounds, and assists for Cade Cunningham. And I'm taking the more on rebounds and assists for Karl Anthony Towns. Knicks have been blown out by the Pistons twice this year. I think they're going to show up on Thursday when we get back from the All-Star break. You can roll with my picks or fade my picks. Just do it at Prize Picks. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS. Place your first $5 lineup, and they get $50 in lineups after that. All right, so the New York Giants back on the clock in round 2 with the 37th overall pick, and PFF has them selecting the Tennessee Volunteer corner, Colton Hood. This is a draft that I feel as if a lot of different places and a lot of different people are going to have different rankings of corners. But there's no doubt about it. The Giants need a corner in this draft. And if they can leave this draft with a starting corner, that's going to go a long way for this football team. Before we talk more about Colton Hood and I tell you what he's good at and where he needs to improve, I think the Giants could trade down from number 37. And unless there is a player that they have a first-round grade on that falls to 37, I almost think that they should trade down. You don't have a pick, and it's from pick 37 until like pick 105. You go like 70 picks until you are back on the clock. And The Giants have multiple needs on this roster that they could address if they do have some more ammunition, especially in premium pick selections. But Colton Hood, 6 foot, 195 pounds. He was a redshirt sophomore this year at Tennessee. And with some injuries in the Tennessee secondary, I thought he did a really good job of stepping up when he needed to. I think he's really good in man coverage. I think he is sticky in that regard, and I'm expecting the Giants to play some more man coverage this year. Dane Brugler has Hood ranked as the 25th best player on his big board. 25th best player at pick number 37. I'll take that. Brugler writes, Hood checks boxes for size, speed, physicality, and catch point skills. He is still developing his route anticipation from off coverage, but he plays sticky man-to-man coverage and gets busy as a run defender. Hood had an up and down Senior Bowl week, but the highs made him look like a first-round player. At 6 foot, 195 pounds, that's pretty good size for a corner. My guy Joey Peterson, who covers Tennessee football here at Chat Sports, says Colton Hood was one of the biggest surprises in the 2025 college football season. Ranked as the 416th best player in the transfer portal, he winds up at Tennessee. And after a week 1 injury to Ricky Gibson, he is the CB1 for the Vols for the rest of the year. What stands out on tape is his physicality and coverage, closing speed, and ability to get his head around and make a play on the ball. I think the biggest concern for Hood is his size. Doesn't have long arms, and I wouldn't be surprised if he measures in under 6 foot at the combine. Under 6 foot isn't a massive deal in the NFL, but coupled with arm length, that could cause some problems. So it sounds like the measurements are going to be something that could sway some people on this topic. But, man, when you watch the tape, you look at the stats, there was not a lot of things that you could be upset about with Hood. He can cover, he can tackle, not afraid to stick his nose in it, get off a block, and make plays near or at the line of scrimmage. Had 9 pass breakups last year. Forced a fumble, recovered a fumble. He was good. When you look at his coverage stats in particular, when quarterbacks targeted him in coverage, they only had a quarterback rating of 69.8, a completion percentage of 51.9, and he only allowed 1 touchdown last year in the SEC. Whether it's Colton Hood, maybe it's someone else, the Giants have to upgrade their secondary and specifically the corner position. I don't know if they're going to bring back Cordell Flott. And if you don't bring back Cordell Flott, that means you're looking at guys like Paulson Adebo, Deontay Banks, Rico Payton, Art Green. Like you don't have any other. You're going to have Andrew Phillips in the slot, but you need another guy that could start week 1 on the boundary. Hood could be that guy in round 2. They have to find a way. And lucky for them, according to Daniel Jeremiah, there are a lot of good corners in this draft, saying there are a lot of day 2 starting corners in this draft. No matter who it is, I don't really care at this point. Find a way to leave this draft with a day 1 starter at a corner, and man, that is going to help your chances to win games next year. So this is what their mock draft looks like for the Giants. Round 1, pick 5, they have Sonny Styles to the New York Giants. And then round 2 with pick 37, Colton Hood is a Giant. Grade the mock draft for me. 1 to 100, just like we're back at school. 100 is a perfect score. 1 is the score that Vinny Pip got on a lot of his tests. So sound off for me and grade this mock draft down in the comment section. If these are the 2 picks, I wouldn't have too much to say in a negative way. Make sure you are following me on social media. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at @MarshallGreen_. Manny's giving it an 88. Who do we pick at 5? Sonny Styles. Best name in the class. Like Sonny Styles sounds like the name of a movie character that plays football.
Made for New York with that name. Added to Jackson Dart at quarterback. I mean, the Giants would have the all-name team if that's how it ends up.
Seth Gross says, except for Mendoza, defense sounds like the focus of this draft so far. Had the Seahawks Super Bowl performance started a trend? I mean, just go through some of the recent Super Bowl winners. Seahawks won with defense. Eagles won with defense. Chiefs won with defense the prior 2 years. Like, those weren't Mahomes-led explosive offenses. The last 2 rings of Mahomes is, like, defense wins.
Not to be
Defense wins
cliche, defense
championships.
wins championships. Yeah, that's what
How
defense travels in any weather.
yeah.
So I don't know. And like think about the
We
Giants.
won with defense. Hell yeah, we did, Shane Tompkins.
Their offense was pretty good last year, like compared to years prior. Their defense was kind of the unit that was supposed to carry the team. That was definitely more disappointing. So, and then like obviously, a lot of these mock drafts don't like free agency hasn't started yet. They will change out depending on who gets added at what position for every team and who's available. So, we'll see what the Giants end up doing.
I like it. We're going to jump into a mailbag right now. Imagine if Jermon McCoy, man, if McCoy tore his ACL in 2024 and his 2024 tape was put on display in 2025, he's a top 5 pick. But I just always have concerns about drafting players who suffered. The last time we saw them, it was being carted off. But, man, his 2024 tape, it's the best tape of any corner in this class. It really is.
Assuming medicals check out, that's probably something that good teams do is they take advantage. It's like those guys that slip down for whatever the reason is. Obviously, you have to expect him to make a full recovery, but that's the thing that we won't really know until the team's going to look and see how that knee looks. But, yeah, I mean, if that's – I don't know. We had one super chat come in while we were filming that. Shout out to Angelo.
Angelo, shout out to you, man. I'll get to that. I want to just, this is a good one. Tav Logs in the chat says, can y'all break down the difference between Caleb Downs and Isaiah Simmons? I see him as a comp since they played similar roles. I'll just keep it short and sweet. Isaiah Simmons was good in college because he was the most athletic player on the field. Sonny Styles was the best player in Caleb Downs was the best player in college football on defense because of his brain, because of his football IQ, his instincts. I tweeted this out the other day. There are, how many times do we say, you got to be able to read and react on defense. Read and react. Caleb Downs is, and you don't ever hear this, he is a defensive player that is an anticipatory player. He anticipates what's going to happen. He is someone that, because of his film study, because of his football IQ, his ability to diagnose what a team wants to do based on their coverages, he's able to win before the snap is even into motion. So Caleb Downs is great because of his football brain. Isaiah Simmons was unbelievable because he was the biggest athletic freak in college football. And Isaiah Simmons played all those positions because he didn't really have one. Whereas Caleb Downs lines up all over the field because he is great everywhere he lines up. So I get why people would compare and say they're similar, but I don't really think that they are, except for that they just lined up in multiple spots.
Yeah, that guy, like, it's super athletic freak that can play all over. That I could see how you would like, and that comparison is coming together. But yeah,
Isaiah Simmons wasn't great at any one position.
And like he was technically listed as a linebacker as well.
And he played a lot of safety in college. Whereas Caleb Downs can play everywhere because he's great at everywhere. You line up Isaiah Simmons everywhere because he's not great at any one spot. I still believe it. If Isaiah Simmons came into the league as an edge rusher, he'd still be in the league and he would still be great. But you can't be a C+ at everything. And then
or to
in between the years, Isaiah Simmons ain't in between the years what Caleb Downs is.
Yeah, and coming in as a first-round pick as well, like you got to have some sort of elite skill or be elite trait that you bring in order to kind of make your mark.
And athleticism isn't just
every
the
guy
trait.
in the NFL is athletic.
Yeah, that was the thing for Isaiah Simmons. He was great because of his athleticism. Downs is just great because he's a damn good football player. I hope that one makes sense. No one likes Tate anymore? I like Carnell Tate. Is Carnell Tate a receiver that is worthy of the number 5 pick? Is Carnell Tate a better prospect than Teteroa McMillan? He went, 8 last year?
Yeah, had a Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Who's better, Teteroa McMillan or Carnell Tate coming out of college? I think Teteroa McMillan. Who's better coming out of college, Carnell Tate or Malik Neighbors? He went 6th. Like, if you're drafting a receiver at 5, that guy should be able to walk in the league and go for 1,200.
I mean, that's what you're measuring up against, a guy who a Rookie of the Year caliber players who get picked that high. So
if I knew and had a strong conviction that Carnell Tate was going to be a multi-time All-Pro receiver worthy of, like, you draft a receiver at 5, you're thinking that guy can go to the Hall of Fame. I just don't watch Carnell Tate and say, that's George Pickens. That is the next A.J. Green. I don't see that with Carnell Tate. Can he be T. Higgins? Potentially. And is T. Higgins worth the number 5 pick in the draft? I don't think so. And I like Tate. I like Tyson as well. Trust me, I'd love to add another dominant wide receiver to this team. Is Styles really better than Downs or Tate? I have Caleb Downs number 1 on my pick board. I think he plays his position better than any other player plays their position. Terrible logic. Different draft classes. The real question is Tate the best player at 5? I think it just took like one more level of thinking for you to be like, well, his thought is no, right? No, I don't think he's worthy of a top 5 pick. I don't. Giants pick him at 5. I'm going to be hyped. I am. But no, I never watched Carnell Tate, and I've watched all of his catches this year. I don't see number 5 overall pick when I watch him. I don't. All right. Ready to jump in this mailbag?
yeah, you want to just start on the first question?
Yeah.
Okay.
You start on one. Shane Tompkins, like, come on, man. That's terrible logic. Okay. I guess. Tate is he's the best receiver on his team. Like, not fair to compare him to Jeremiah Smith, but I don't know. Can we start with, Anus Pistons question about Romeo Doubs? I think that's a good one to start. I just will probably start the title around Doubs, so I like to. Shout out to everybody in the building. Going to jump into a mailbag where we're answering questions from all of you. And then after that, we're going to take a look at some cut candidates across the National Football League that the New York Giants could target in NFL free agency. All right. I don't mind Jordan Ty. Yeah, if the medicals were a green flag, Marcus, for Tyson, I would have him above Carnell Tate. Man, those are a little bit worrisome for me. All right. Yo, what's going on, everybody? You're watching Giants Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Marshall Green. We got a mailbag coming up on today's show where we react to your questions. We went live earlier in the week. If you weren't there, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on, as we're going to go live at least one time per week until the regular season starts. My guy AP51 coming in with a question. Appreciate you, bro. Says, hey, Marsh, what do you think about Romeo Doubs for a receiver in free agency? And it's a good point. Eli Manning thinks the New York Giants should go out and get a wide receiver 2. He even said a wide receiver 1B for Malik Neighbors. And Romeo Doubs is going to be one of the headliners of the 2026 NFL free agency class. We've actually just got a report coming in from Matt Schneidman, who covers the Green Bay Packers for The Athletic, and he says Romeo Doubs is set to hit free agency, and he is as good as gone. So there's a world where he is not going back to the Packers, and he can leave. I like Doubs as a player. I think he's someone that would complement Malik Neighbors a lot. This past year, 55 grabs, 724 yards. Last year, 46 grabs for 600 yards. He's got 10 touchdowns in the last 2 years. In 2023, he had 8 touchdowns for 674 yards. Physical receiver at 6'2", 205 pounds. He's someone that could make contested catches as well. There was that thing like 2 years ago where he didn't show up to practice and then they had to suspend him for something. So I'd like to get some more background information on that. But without a doubt, the New York Giants have to address the wide receiver position. What are they going to do with Wan'Dale Robinson? Will he be back? And I'm sorry, just bringing back Wan'Dale Robinson is not enough addressing. You need to, if you're going to bring him back, you need to then, again, either go get another receiver or someone at a premium pick in the NFL draft. But yeah, if Romeo Doubs wants to be a Giant and then get the contract done, he is someone that is high on my list of wide receiver targets in free agency. When it comes to, can we get a good wide receiver 2 in the NFL draft? I don't think Lemon is going to fall to pick number 37, but Concepcion at Texas A&M, he could be there. If you feel as if you can get a game changer at number 37 at the receiver spot, do it. You need more dogs at that position. Michael, what up, my man? Any interest in Mike Evans? Yeah, I do have a little bit of interest in Mike Evans. It's being reported that he is going to come back and play this year. He's going to be a free agent, and he's going to listen to all options out there in free agency. Mike Evans, I know he's a little bit longer in the tooth, and he is older, but, man, he is still a productive receiver. And I really would like the idea of him being kind of that big brother mentor to Malik Neighbors in the wide receiver room. Eli Manning talked about it. Neighbors could use someone that he could look up to and learn from. And what better guy than Mike Evans, who's going to be a Hall of Famer? What did he have, 9 straight years, 10 straight years of 1,000 yards? He could be a red zone target for you. We've seen Jackson Dart kind of just throw up some 50-50 balls. Mike Evans as good as anybody in this league to go and get those out of the air. I know it's on a long-term fix there, and I do like to prioritize long-term fixes. But, man, Mike Evans for a year, and then you're right back at it the next year trying to figure out that spot. I don't think that that's the worst idea in the world. If the money's right, yeah, Mike Evans is someone that I am interested in. We'll get to more questions about free agency and the NFL draft coming up in a second, but I want to hear from you because I was asked this question recently. That was a really good one. So I'm going to ask you, what would be a successful season for the Giants this year? If the Giants do blank, you'll consider it a successful year. Sound off in the comments for me. Is it X amount of wins? Is it the division? What is it? What would be a successful year for you for the Giants? Sound off for me. My guy, let's go Giants. What up, my man? You think we could afford to trade back into the first round for like Mansour Delane, the corner out of LSU, for like Tibbs in a second round pick for pick 25? We always do this. This guy won't be available there. There's no way this guy is available there. I do have a hard time seeing Delane be available at pick 25. But if there's a player that the New York Giants are in love with that's on the board, pick 23, 24, 25, 26, yeah, they should go up and try to trade for him. Like if you have a first-round grade on a guy and you see him slipping, but you're not so sure he's going to slip to 37, yeah, you could go up and try to move up and get him. And I think using Kayvon Thibodeaux as a trade piece in that type of situation is a good idea. Is Kayvon Thibodeaux going to be on the Giants this time next year? Are they going to pay him money to be the third edge rusher behind Abdul Carter and Brian Burns? I'm sure the Giants are going to add another edge rusher in free agency or the draft this year as well. Just hasn't been a home run with Kayvon Thibodeaux. He's not a bust, but for the 5th overall pick, they haven't got the return on investment that they would like. And you have to ask the question, does John Harbaugh look at Kayvon Thibodeaux and say, that's my type of football player? I don't know. There's been some chatter the Giants could trade him. We know the Giants were listening to calls at the trade deadline. We know for a fact they were listening to calls and making calls at the draft last year for Thibodeaux. If you can use him as a piece to move up in the draft to secure someone that you're in love with, yeah, I absolutely would do that. We'll answer more questions coming up in a second. First, though, I got to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Chubbies. It's their 15th year anniversary, and they've got an awesome deal for the real ones. When you go to chubbyshorts.com/chatsports, use that promo code chatsports, you get 20% off your purchase. I got to be real with you guys. The first time I put on a pair of Chubby shorts, my life was changed. They're the most comfortable shorts I've ever put on. They've also got extremely comfortable swimsuits and swim trunks. And with summer and spring right around the corner, the time to get your swim trunks are now. And Chubbies, they have the best in the game. I've been living in my Chubby shorts ever since I put them on that first day. And they make every single day feel like Friday at 5 p.m. Supportive, zero chafe, dry in minutes, so you're cannonball to cold beer ready. The four-way stretch is ridiculous. So, for a limited time, Giants Now listeners get 20% off with code CHATSPORTS at chubbyshorts.com. That's 20% off with code CHATSPORTS at chubbyshorts.com. They also have an official collab with the NFL, so they've got Giants-themed swim shorts. They've got Giants polos, Giants button-downs. Go check them out. Shout out to Chubbies. Go give your thighs the VIP treatment they deserve. And tell Chubbies Chat Sports sent you. Papa Swanky, what up, my man? Shout out to you, $5 super chat. Thought on Peter Woods, Clemson defensive tackle, could make it easier moving on from Dexter Lawrence if he has another down year. I don't want to move on from Dexter Lawrence. I know we've talked about if you get the same trade package the Jets got for Quinnen Williams, it'd be hard to turn down, and no doubt about it. It will be hard to turn that down. But can we just get Dexter Lawrence to be an all-pro again? Like, can he get back to the player he was last year when he was talked about as a top 20 player in the NFL? Like, how much of a boost to the defense would it be if Dexter Lawrence, who's motivated, hopefully with the new coaching staff, led by John Harbaugh, with an identity of winning, like Dex has been part of a lot of losing here. Maybe his focus and his sights and his motivation has changed now with John Harbaugh in the room. Like, I'm looking for all the glass half full type of things, hoping that he could bounce back. When it comes to Peter Woods, this is a guy that was ranked as a top 5 player in the summer. And it was like top 10 player midway through the year. Now it's like, is he a top 15 guy? I would love for there to be a defensive tackle at pick number 5 the Giants could select. Right now, though, that's not available. Peter Woods, his tape this year wasn't nearly good enough for that. Carl Knight, what up, my man? Is there a free agent that you like that the Giants realistically can get that no one is talking about? Man, that no one is talking about. Well, I would love to get Tyler Linderbaum, and I think everyone's talking about him, so that does not count. We talked about Romeo Doubs. I haven't seen too many Giants people go out and talk about Doubs. What about a corner, Nashawn Wright? Nashawn Wright last year played for the Chicago Bears. I think he made the Pro Bowl for whatever that is worth anymore. But he was a good corner for them. And maybe you get him on a cheap 2-year deal, and he can be a spot starter for you. Any other guys? Man, that's tough that no one is talking about. I don't think anyone's talking about Nashawn Wright. So we can go with that one. I'm blanking on his name. First round pick, linebacker, Packers. Quay Walker is a free agent, super athlete, was really good his first couple of years in the NFL. Some injuries and maybe some other things haven't happened, but you want to talk about athlete. You want to talk about like someone that can make a difference, sideline speed, and if you can get his head back in it, Quay Walker would be potentially a cheap 1-year deal that you could target. Cheap 2-year deal. Quay Walker and Nashawn Wright, 2 guys at positions of need that I think could make some sense. Tav Logs, what up, my man? Can y'all break down the difference between Caleb Downs and Isaiah Simmons? I've seen him as a player comp since they played similar roles in college. Good question. I'll say it like this. Isaiah Simmons was looked at as a generational player because he was the best player in college football. And the reason he was the best player in college football is because he was bigger, stronger, and faster than everybody else. He was elite because he was the best athlete on the field at all times. The reason that Caleb Downs is looked at as the best player in this class is because of his football IQ. Everything that goes on between his ears is why he's looked at as the best. The Clemson Tigers lined up Isaiah Simmons all over the field because he wasn't necessarily an A-plus player at any one spot. The reason that Matt Patricia in Ohio State lined up Caleb Downs in the box, in the slot, single high, split field high, on the edge is because he was an A-plus at every single place. So Isaiah Simmons was great because of his athleticism. Caleb Downs is great because he's a great football player. He has a great football IQ. His mind makes him great. So I hope that kind of explains that. Seth Gross, what up, my man? How could free agency change how we view our draft teams? Do we draft for need or best available? So I'll answer this in a two-parter. How could free agency change? Giants go out and they sign Alec Pierce to a 3-year, $60 million deal. I don't think they're going to draft a wide receiver, number 5 overall. The Giants go out and sign Jermaine Illuminor to a big bag or any right tackle to a big bag. You're not going to draft a right tackle at number 5 overall. So I do think there's going to be a direct correlation between what the Giants do in free agency and what they do in the NFL draft. But I think that this team should continue to just draft the best football player that is available. Obviously, don't need a quarterback. Don't need a running back either. But, man, if quarterback, running back, left tackle, any other player that's the best player on the board, take him. Like, if there's another great edge rusher, maybe you don't want to do that, but, like, I don't mind doing that. The only positions I wouldn't do it is quarterback, left tackle, and running back. But every time the Giants go to the podium, I want them selecting the player that they think, of all the players that are left on the board, have the best chance to be a Hall of Famer. You do that, you're going to build a good football team. Make sure you are following me on social media. If I missed your question today, tweet at me on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_ or send me a DM on IG at @MarshallGreen_. We are not good enough to draft for need. You just get into trouble when you do that. The 2022 draft for Joe Shane was a draft of need. And now you're most likely not going to bring back Wan'Dale Robinson in round 2. You're not going to bring back Cordell Flott in round 3. You're not bringing back Dane Belton in round 4. You're probably not bringing back Daniel Bellinger from round 5. Does Micah McFadden come back? Like, all the players that we liked in that class that maybe weren't elite players, they were looked at as good depth pieces and fringe starters. Giants aren't even going to bring those guys back. So
I wouldn't say the Giants are at the point in their build where they're like looking to add depth pieces. Like they still.
No, they always say we're one X away.
Yeah, they need like impact players. When you're a fringe Super Bowl team, maybe you need kind of some depth, or you have a lot of superstar guys. You need some depth pieces. Like, it's not that the Giants don't need depth, is that they also need impact players, and those are more important than depth pieces.
And even when you are a team that's competing for a Super Bowl, like,
you shouldn't be picking depth pieces in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, like I guess what I'm trying to say is even picking for need and then those spots can be bad. Like, I think the Chiefs wish that they could undo the pick of the LSU running back in round 1, and maybe they could have got someone else at that spot.
True.
I just think if you leave the draft saying when we picked 6 times in the NFL draft, we took the player that we thought was the best at football every single time, clip it, Bronx boy. The bust rate's going to be a heck of a lot lower.
Shout out to you guys. Some good questions, some good super chats, some good comments as well. Appreciate you guys helping us have our show here. And we like to obviously talk with you guys and answer the questions as well. So shout out to everyone who super chatted and used #Giants.
Sweet. All right, let's jump into the last segment on today's show. cap cuts will be rolling in for the Giants as well as every other team in the NFL. NFL.com and The Athletic put out cut candidates for every single team in the league, and we're going to talk about them and some potential free agents the Giants should target if they are released. All right. Cool. Rob Jigga, what up, my man? What up, bro? Good to see you, my man. Good to see you. Poke Moore, I think I do understand your question. Let's do it. We're a little under 3 weeks away from NFL free agency being here, which means some cap cuts are going to be rolling in across the National Football League. And on today's show, we're going to react to a list that NFL.com and The Athletic put out for cap cut candidates. And we're going to tell you some players the Giants should target that could be free agents. Before we do that, though, St. Paddy's Day is right around the corner. And Giants Now by Chat Sports just launched their newest t-shirt. Be a part of the New York Giants Now drinking team. Rep your green and don't get pinched on St. Paddy's Day. Get your shirt. chatsports.com/GiantsGreen. That's chatsports.com/GiantsGreen. When you get your shirt, take a picture of you wearing it, send it to me on social media, and we'll put it on the show. All right. NFL.com had Denzel Ward, the cornerback for the Cleveland Browns, as a cap cut candidate. And I'll say this, if this does happen, the Giants should be all over it. One of their biggest needs is corner, and Denzel Ward is still one of the best in the business. NFL.com wrote this: Ward is somewhat synonymous with the Cleveland Browns secondary at this point. He was the team's 4th overall pick in 2018 and has logged 8 seasons as a starter with 5 Pro Bowl trips and 104 PBUs, the most by a Brown since the stat was first tracked in 1991. At 29 years old, Ward may not be as elite as he once was, but is still a solid corner with years left to give. The problem is the money. Ward carries a $32.9 million cap hit this year, the highest on the team outside Deshaun Watson, and the Browns could save $20 million by designating him as a post-June 1 cut. Cleveland is $2.3 million under the cap and needs heavy improvement across all areas of the roster to work its way out of the AFC North cellar. Given what he's meant to the team for the better part of a decade, this would be a more surprising cut, but it also might make sense as Cleveland looks to the future under new head coach Todd Monken, who I officially hate because he should have been the Giants' offensive coordinator. If the Cleveland Browns are going to cut Denzel Ward, to save the $20 million that was mentioned, the Giants should be all in on signing him. I thought that write-up from NFL.com was good. Ward was once looked at as a top 5 corner in this league. I'm not so sure that he still carries that same pedigree, but he would immediately be the best corner on this team. And with him on one side and a Debo on the other side, that would be a formidable duo at the corner spot. 9 pass breakups last year, but 19 in 2024, 11 in 2023, 15 in 2022. He makes plays. He's a difference maker. He can carry and travel sideline to sideline to cover corner ones, and the Giants have to improve in that spot. Denzel Ward would be a dream signing for the Giants. I think he'd be the best corner on the market. I think he would command a lot of money as well. Do the Giants want to double down on that? We'll find out, but it's a need, and he would potentially be the best on the market. Another corner that was mentioned by NFL.com was L'Jarius Sneed, currently with the Tennessee Titans, formerly of the Kansas City Chiefs, a Super Bowl winner. Last played for the Titans. His defensive coordinator was Denard Wilson, the current DC. Now for the Giants, NFL.com wrote, since signing a big contract with the Titans in 2024, Sneed has missed far more games than he's played. including landing on our IR with a quad injury and missing after 7 games of 2025, and was also indicted on a misdemeanor in November. He logged just 3 PBUs and 0 interceptions across 12 games with Tennessee after averaging 10 PBUs and 2.5 interceptions per season in his first 4 years with Kansas City. Look, it was not good for L'Jarius Sneed with the Tennessee Titans, but Denard Wilson has got to work with him every single day over the last 2 years. And if Wilson thinks that there is still gas left in the tank of Sneed, who is still just 29 years old, it could make a lot of sense. I don't know if the guy that played for the Chiefs from 2020 to 2023, where he was looked at as a top 10 corner in this league, and he was a pivotal piece on that defense that won 2 Super Bowls. I don't know if that guy still exists, but if there's someone that you have confidence in to start at corner and be a difference maker and be a positive in the locker room, that could make some sense. Marlon Humphrey was also named as a cut candidate in this article. We've talked at length about Humphrey. Obviously played for Harbaugh his entire career in Baltimore. So I want you to sound off. If you could sign one of these corners, factor in their salary, who would it be? Denzel Ward, L'Jarius Sneed, or Marlon Humphrey? Kenny Clark, the defensive tackle that was traded from the Green Bay Packers to the Dallas Cowboys, was listed by NFL.com as a cap cut casualty for the Dallas Cowboys, saying after trading Micah Parsons for Clark and 2 first-round picks and emphasizing the importance of a better run defense, Jerry Jones and co. might feel obligated to keep the 30-year-old defensive tackle. It's worth noting he was not good against the run when he went to Dallas, and the Cowboys are $30 million over the cap, and cutting Clark would free up $21.5 million this season. The Cowboys need to continue to get under the cap, and with Quinnen Williams and Osa Odighizuwa having big cap hits, it looks like Clark could be the odd man out. At 6'3", 314 pounds, 30 years old, I think that he makes a lot of sense as a defensive tackle free agent target for the Giants. If you could line up Kenny Clark, Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, that is a serious front four. That is extremely versatile as well. Wasn't the best year for Kenny Clark in Dallas, but I still think that if he is your second best defensive tackle on a team, I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm not looking to cash out Kenny Clark. Can 2 years and $18 million get it done? Can 2 years and $20 million get it done? He's had 7.5 sacks in a season before. He's versatile, and there's a reason that he was with the Green Bay Packers for so long and he was so effective as well. The Giants' run defense has been a joke for the better part of a decade. And it starts from the defensive tackle room, a room that Joe Schoen has not been able to improve, and really a room that he hasn't thrown many bullets at as well. If you could pair together Kenny Clark, Dexter Lawrence, I'd love that. Clark or not, defensive tackle needs to be a priority for the Giants this offseason. Inside linebacker Tremaine Edmunds was listed as a cap cut candidate this offseason for the Chicago Bears, as cutting him would save them a lot of money. And I believe that inside linebacker is also a major need for the Giants. NFL.com writing about Edmunds, saying Edmunds has remained a solid and consistent linebacker in his 8th NFL season and 3rd with the Bears, extending his unbroken streak of seasons with 100-plus tackles along with 4 INTs and a fumble recovery. If he was making solid starter money, say $10 million a year, there'd be little to no reason to move on from him. Except Chicago is $5.3 million over the cap. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Edmunds' average annual value is $18 million, and it's the 3rd highest at his position, and his cap hit is $17.4 million. Most importantly, the Bears can save $15 million if they do cut him. At 27 years old, Edmunds is someone that I would be interested in. I was interested in the Giants signing him a couple of seasons ago when he was a free agent. Out of Virginia Tech, he's a playmaker. He'll bring you some speed at the second level, a really good run defender, 4 straight years of 100-plus tackles. He's not necessarily the pass coverage linebacker that I think sometimes is talked about, but he is an impact player, and I think that he could give you some juice as a pass rusher as well. I reached out to my guy Harrison Graham here at Chat Sports, who covers the Bears, and I asked him what was the deal with him. So he was actually pretty good the first 8 to 9 weeks this year, but then suffered a hamstring injury and didn't play very well when he got back. He's a solid player, but nowhere near worth $17.5 million. The Giants also have a linebacker on their hands that was listed as a cap cut casualty, and that's Bobby Okereke. You save $9 million. He's 2 years older than Tremaine Edmunds. Can you use that $9 million that you saved by Okereke, apply that, and try to go sign Tremaine Edmunds to beef up that room? I don't mind that trade-off at all. Michael Pittman Jr., wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, was named as a cap cut casualty. And if he is a free agent, I think the Giants should absolutely be interested. The Athletic listed Pittman as a cut candidate, saying he's totaled a career high 7 receiving touchdowns in 2025, but also had just 784 receiving yards, which was his lowest mark since his rookie season. The veteran wideout, who turns 29 in October, has a $29 million cap hit in 2026. There's no way Indy will pay him that salary, especially after Alec Pierce supplanted him, I can't even read that, as the number one receiver. Pittman could either restructure his contract to reduce his salary and remain with the Colts, or they could just release him. The latter choice would create $24 million in cap space, with just $5 million dead. 28 years old, 6'4", 225 pounds. How long have the Giants been chasing a wide receiver like that? Plays about 30% of his snaps in the slot. One thing for him is he's not the most explosive wide receiver down the field. I mean, you could see it in the last 4 years. He hasn't had an average yards per catch north of 11.7 yards. So I wonder how explosive of a receiver he would be. But man, 925 yards, 1,100 yards, 800 yards, 780 yards. Put him on the opposite side of Malik Neighbors. Get someone in the slot. Continue to add in free agency and in the draft. I think Michael Pittman would be a pretty solid wide receiver too for this team. Whether it's him, somebody else, Romeo, Doubs, I don't know what they're going to do in free agency yet, but they have to revamp that room. And bringing back Wan'Dale Robinson is simply just not enough. If you bring back Robinson, you need to maybe take Carnell Tate or Tyson, number 5 overall, or draft someone at the 37th overall pick. Wan'Dale Robinson, if brought back, cannot be your second best receiver next year. Because if he is, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Other names that were mentioned by NFL.com and The Athletic as cap cut candidates: Calvin Ridley. I know he's had some injuries, but man, for a cheap 1-year deal, I wouldn't hate that. Patrick Queen once played for the Baltimore Ravens. Giants have a need at linebacker. I think that can make some sense. Eric Armstead wasn't very good for the Jags the last 2 years. He was one of the better interior defensive linemen at one point in this league. I wonder if there's any juice left there. Kenny Moore, a really good slot corner. Are the Giants going to trust Andrew Phillips to hold that position down by himself? Juwan Taylor, the right tackle for the Chiefs. They save a lot of money if they cut him. I know he's consistently a false start flag addict, but he is a good pass blocker. Darnell Mooney is someone that I'm a fan of. He's had a couple of drop problems, but he is an explosive chess piece on an offense. Cole Kmet. Sounds like he might get squeezed out of Chicago. I like him as a tight end, too, next to Theo Johnson. They mentioned Jalen Johnson. If he's cut, yeah, he'd be number 1 on my list. I don't think that's going to happen, so I don't want to spend too much time talking about him. Elkton Jenkins, 30-year-old interior offensive line for the Packers, was a damn good guard 2 years ago. They moved him to center this year. Didn't play all that well. He's got some injuries, but I like him. And I want to throw Dalvin Tomlinson in there because once a Giant, always a Giant. Any of those players that we mentioned today, I think we mentioned 15 of them, players that are cut prior to free agency being here can sign before free agency. So, like Tyreek Hill, who was cut on Monday by the Dolphins, he could sign with the Giants today. He could sign with any team today. So, you might be getting some news of some new people joining the Giants once teams start to make some cap cuts and we get closer and closer to free agency. Make sure you are following me on social media. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on IG at @MarshallGreen_. Kmet is a sleeper? Yeah, I don't know if the Giants are going to bring back Daniel Bellinger. And I kind of like the idea of adding another tight end. The Giants played a lot of 12 personnel last year. You have to think with Greg Roman in the fold, they're going to continue that. I don't mind adding more juice to the tight end spot.
Theo Johnson didn't play well enough to just be handed the starting role again this year. They got to do
Joe Shane.
Yeah, they got to do something, bring in some competition when they draft a guy, sign a guy in free agency, whoever it is. But especially with the fact that, like we've kind of talked about, and it's been well documented throughout his college career and now in the pros, Dart loves throwing to tight ends. So you got to add a weapon at that position. We saw him and Johnson connect for a lot of touchdowns, especially early on when he first started
had a great
playing.
player at tight end.
Yeah, I mean, it could be like if you have a quality tight end, they could have an all-pro, Pro Bowl type season, especially with Dart kind of looking at tight ends a lot. So,
Marsh, I need you to say it. Say what? What do I need to say? I saw someone say, if we're going to get Tremaine Edmonds, let's just hold on to Bobby Okereke. There's about 2 tiers in between Bobby Okereke and Tremaine Edmonds. But I don't know. Like, if you just use the $9 million that you save from Okereke, go give 2 years, $18 million total to Edmonds. Theo drops in. LOL. That's hilarious. Yeah. What's crazy is if Theo caught the ball, he'd be pretty damn good.
yeah, I mean, frustrating. What was it? Was that play against the Broncos where he dropped the ball and ended up like benefiting the Giants to
off his chest it fell in Wandale or
I forget who it was.
Wandale dropped the slant and then Theo caught it.
Right place, right time.
There was a one though. Theo had multiple drops that should have been touchdowns as well. There might have been one in the Broncos game that he dropped at that left pylon. I don't remember which one it was. How soon do you think the Giants will be playoff caliber? Why not this year? Why not this year? Who are we supposed to be scared of? The big bad Eagles and Jalen Hurts? He just whooped up on them with Brian Dable in third game of Jackson Dart. No Malik Neighbors. Eagles aren't getting better this offseason either. They're having to take a little bit of Howie Roseman is a genius medicine this offseason. They ain't got much to spend.
Howie does it again.
Saquon ain't getting younger. Lane Johnson ain't getting younger. A.J. Brown's only getting whinier. Cool. All right, we're going to sign off on today's show. We've been live for an hour and 45 minutes. Next week, I will be at the NFL Combine. I'll get to talk to Joe Shane. I'll get to talk to John Harbaugh. I will go live from Radio Row at some point. So stay tuned. Next week's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of content coming out, a lot of short-form content, a lot of inside stuff. We are going to be on site. Going to be a lot of fun. We were there last year. I know a lot of people liked our coverage there. We're only going to take it to another level. Appreciate everybody that tuned in today. Major love. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you later.